I think it says we're live.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Wealthy Woman Playbook. And today's edition is Tuesday Tips from the Top. I am your host, Tara L.
And I'm Jess.
And we are so excited to be with you guys today because we have such an incredible topic to talk about. And I think that this is so important for people who are either not in business at all, because I think this is very easy to look at people who are making money and think this, or people who are getting started in business and looking at people who have money, or you're somebody who is just starting to scale your business and making more money than you ever even thought was possible. But the topic that we want to talk about today is that money does not equate to power. And I think that so many people think that it does. And I will be completely honest with you and say that when I walked away from my very first business that I had made $1 million with, um, I when I walked away from there, the first 2 months that I had stepped away and had started a new business, I was helping a startup company to scale. The first month of being with them, I earned $9,000. Now, think about it this way. I went from the month prior, the last month that I earned with my previous company was a $47,000 cash month. And then I went to $9,000. That was very eye-opening to me. And even though it didn't matter that I made $9,000 because I'm scaling a new company, okay, in my mind, I felt like all of my power was gone and I was tying my own personal worth around money. Now, I don't want you to think that I was thinking I was better than anybody with money, because anybody who knows me knows that I was giving way more to anybody and everybody for Christmas. I was going back to where I lived in the projects, giving away, 12 $100 gift cards with my kids. Like, I always gave back. This had nothing to do with me thinking I was better than anybody or had power of anybody. It was me making my own self feel like my worth was tied around money because of the fact that I never grew up with money and I always felt inferior to my friends and even my family members, because we were like the black sheep of the family, because my mom, she suffered from addiction and we were accepting $500 a month from government insurance. Government assistance, and we didn't even own a car. So the fact that for the first time in my life I had money, it made me personally feel like I was worth something. So my not existence, but my worth was basically, my identity was tied up to that. So when I went from making that to making that, it made me feel like, whoa, like I'm a nobody. And if I don't get back to that again, then I'm a nobody, but not to people, to myself. That's what, like, I just want to clarify that. However, I really think that in this industry of working online, most people think that money ties to power, and it really, really doesn't. And I'm going to let Jess kind of give you guys some examples of what power actually does mean, because money is the very, very last thing on the list, if at all, if it even makes the list.
Yeah, and I think, one of the quotes that a lot of people could resonate with is that it's lonely at the top.
Yeah.
And the reason that people think it's lonely at the top is because they equate the power to money. They think if I have the money and you don't have any power, I have the power. And this
Right.
is the most backwards way of thinking. And the reason why it's so important to have these kinds of conversations and these next level perspectives is that some people, when they get into business and they make a bunch of money, they all of a sudden they think that they assumed all of this power. They all of a sudden have this perspective shift of, okay, now I have all of this money. I'm working with all of these people who don't have money, or I'm working with people above me who have money, and now I'm equal or better. Right. And the perspective that we need to really have in life is we all have equal power, but different. This is why Tara and I work so well together, because we have equal power but different. It's never how much money did you make this month and how much money did I make this month, and because you made more than me this month, now I'm more worthy than you are, so now you need to come correct because now all of a sudden I'm better than you, and then we're going to flip-flop because sometimes you have a better month and sometimes I have a better month, and now our power has switched hands. And it's like, that's not what equals power.
I
What
don't even feel an ounce of Like when Jess had her first like 100K month, there was nothing inside of me that was like, ugh, she's meant. No, I was so happy and genuinely excited, which is why we thrive together and why we create and we just keep going higher, because there's no jealousy or competition between either one of us. I am genuinely happy for all of her success and all of her accomplishments, together or separate.
Yeah. And so this is where we hone in together, is because of the equal power but different. And so here's the thing, there's so many different forms of power. Power comes in the form of connectivity. Power comes in the form of self-esteem, confidence, creativity,
Networking.
connection, like networking, building relationships with other people, the ability to go anywhere and network. Like, you could have so much power in the form of being able to build relationships than I have. Because here's an example. I am very naturally introverted. You probably wouldn't believe that, considering I can show up live like this nowadays. You know, I can build businesses, but I'm very naturally introverted. Like, you catch me outside, I'm walking the other way. Like, I don't know. I don't have the gift of being able to, like, you know, when people say like, oh, she lights up the room and she could put a smile on anyone's face. I'm like, I'm chilling. Like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I'm very awkward in person. That is not a power that I have. I do not have that power of being able to just like walk into a room and connect with everyone right away. Now, it's a skill I'm trying to develop. You're going to see me and Tara networking a whole lot more in 2025, but
Yeah.
I don't really have that power. And that power, you could be making $2,000 a month or $1,000,000 a month, but you could hold that power and someone else doesn't have it. But I can see the value in connecting with someone who has that power that I don't have. And that is how you continue to elevate and go next level in life and in business, because you can't be the one to do it all. You
No.
can't be the one to be like, I'm the best at connecting. I'm the best at training. I'm the best at coaching. I'm the best at building systems. I'm the best at this. I'm the best at that. I'm the best at this. Like, when you get into that mentality of like, I'm going to do it all because I'm the best at all of it and no one can do it as good as me, that's when it's lonely at the top. That's
Mhm.
when you make money and it feels hard. That's when you make money and it feels heavy. That's when you make money and it feels not nearly as good as it could, because you had to put yourself through the ringer to even make that money. Now you can't enjoy the money that you've made. The
Mhm.
power in building a successful corporation, the power in being able to do $30 million like we did in 2025, is by sharing that power amongst other people. It's by being like, what attributes do you have? Let's let that shine. It's like last week, we had someone in our team coach on IG because she's really good at scaling on IG, better than I am. So let's have her do a training for the team because she holds power in that, more power than I feel like I hold. It's like, that's where we can really build successful businesses, is by understanding people and their power, but understanding that the more money we create is not going to increase our power. And this is where people get it twisted. They're like, once I make $40,000 a month, once
Or
I make
influence.
$50,000 a month, I have power. And then that comes in the form of control. And then that comes in the form of, again, I think I'm better than you because I have this money. And until you make this money, you're not on my level. And that just creates chaos.
100%. And this is also a testament to the fact that, you know, all of the people that I've helped to make 6 and 7 figures, all of the people that Jess has helped to make 6 and 7 figures are people that came in and have never done anything like this before, right? It takes, you know, somebody to have that influence over people, to shine a light on them and show them that they're worthy and they're good enough. You know, if we thought we were better than, you know, the next person because we make money, there would be no way in hell that we would be able to help all of these people who don't feel like they relate to us at where we are in life right now, and be able to work with them to help get them to that level and duplicate that over and over and over and over again. Because here's the thing. Yeah, you know, somebody can go out there and they can follow the system and they can make all this money, but can you duplicate that with other people, right? Because I'm always looking like, okay, that's great that you've been able to make that much money. Have you been able to help other people to do that? That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested to see, have you been able to help other people with that? Because there are going to be people that naturally join you in business and they just get it and they just go. So it's not necessarily like you help them to get there. They're just go-getters and it just clicks with them and they just follow it and they just go, right? So yeah, you might have people that you're working with that got there, but how many people did you have to work with on mindset and strategy over and over until it finally clicked with them, and then they took off. Not somebody who just came in on day one, started running, and they're just naturally a leader, right? I'm not talking about those. That's how you know that money doesn't give you money doesn't give you power. It's everything that she just listed that gives you power, and not power in the sense of like I have all this power and I'm like not like that. Just
No
I
power.
have that influence to pour into somebody to get them to see that where they are right now is not their final destination, and they can go a lot higher. It takes somebody very special to be able to get somebody to see that and break through all of their stories and their blocks and their barriers of where they are right now. So this is just a very, very important topic, because I even think that people who are not in business look at people that have money and they're like, oh, they judge them, or they have this mindset of like being rich. Rich people are nasty, they're mean, they're this. That's why you will never acquire wealth, is because you believe that. So you don't want to become that. So you don't want to have wealth. And that is not true at all, right? Because when you start to become wealthy and you start to acquire cash flow, the cash flow is what helps you to acquire assets, and assets is really what helps you to acquire real generational wealth and freedom. It's like there's all these different, tiers to it. And so what we have to do is we have to stop putting these labels, and whether we're doing it to ourselves or we're doing it to other people, or whether we're making money for the very first time and we're looking at ourselves like, oh yeah, now I'm just there and I'm better than everybody and I can do whatever. Because listen, it takes a village. Even Tony Robbins, who is the world's best personal development trainer in the world, is still as humble as you can get and knows that he still has work to go. He still has a ways to go. He still has more people to touch and more people to help and more people. Like, he could been retire years ago, but he doesn't, because he cares that much about his worth and knows that he's not in it for himself. His mission is that much bigger, which is, if you are in our on the daily broadcast, I talked about this the other day, is that if you're waking up and you're allowing how you feel that day, or these little things that are going to go on, in your life, because we're not exempt from life's adversities, no matter how much money we're making. If you're going to allow those things to stop you, then your mission needs to be a lot bigger than what it is, because I can tell you it's just a very selfish thing. Because if you don't feel like waking up every day and doing that, you're not going to do it, because your mission is not big enough. We know that there are so many people that are looking to us on a day-to-day basis that we just can't stop because we don't feel like it that day. Then we're letting all these other people down, because our mission is that much bigger, right? And so again, it's just so important to realize that money is the byproduct of the power that you possess or hold or acquire over time, which is why we talk about value. This is another thing. People will come to me and say, well, I don't have anything to post because I don't have my own results. You, darling, you don't need to be talking about your own personal results, because I say that's one perspective, but here's another perspective. If all I ever did was show up every day and talk about how much money I'm making and the results that I'm having day after day, my community is going to be like, okay, we get it. You make money. You have success. You we get it. Like, it's boring.
Yeah.
They want to hear about all the other success stories. So if you are only focused on the fact that you're not showing your own results, again, you are more focused on you than you are the mission.
Amen. And here's like the reason we have to have these conversations, you guys, is because as you acquire more personal power, as you really tap into that, it's really easy for that sense of personal power, once you've made some money, to turn into ego. And so we have to always be
Yes.
contemplating, like, I mean, ask Tara this morning before we got on this call. I was like, here's this situation. Like, I'm contemplating this. I'm thinking about it. Am I in ego when I'm thinking about it this way? Have I been acting in ego in this situation? Like, I'm always contemplating why I move the way I do, why I make the decisions that I do, why I think the way that I do, because I don't want it to ever turn into ego. Because if I start turning in or acting in my ego where, I think I'm better, or I think I know better, or I have more personal power than you do, that moment that starts to happen, I'll start to repel the people that are meant for me. And the people that are meant for me, that my work is meant for, is to work with people who have power. They just need me to help them amplify it. They just need me to help them, get them the vehicle, or help them see their blind spots of why their personal power isn't as powerful as it could be. So I need to attract people in their power. That's who I want to work with. I don't want to work with victims. I don't want to work with people who give me excuses. I don't want to work with people who are in their ego. I don't want to work with people like that. I want to work with people in their power. So for me, if I start to get into my ego, my money's going to be affected. My business partners are going to be affected. The people I work with are going to be affected. Like, it affects every area of my life. But it's so easy for money to turn into ego that we have to be careful about that. It's easy for rank to turn into ego. It's easy for results to turn into ego. And so it's not saying that I'm better than you. It's saying, even with the level of success that I have, I'm still reflecting on, am I acting in my ego? I'm still reflecting on, am I judging people? Am I not seeing people in their power? Like, I'm still every single day moving with that intentionality, because again, like Tara was just saying, our mission is too big. Our mission is to help thousands and thousands and thousands of women in sales. And so to do that, I can't be in my ego, because if I think that I'm better than the person who's not where I am yet, I'm not going to attract them into my business. I'm not going to attract them into my coaching programs. Like, I have to see them in their power and understand, like, I have power, you have power. Let's do this together. I believe in you enough to get you to where you want to be. And this goes back to what Tara was saying about how what we pride ourselves in is building leaders from scratch. It's not, we bring people in who are top network marketing gurus, and they come in and they pack it out real fast. We build people who have personal power. They just haven't tapped into it yet. And we help them tap into it. And we give them the vehicle to then go create massive success. Like, I pride myself in that. And so if I'm in my ego and I'm like, I'm better than everyone who's not making the kind of money I am, they're not going to fucking buy from me. So we have to always be checking ourselves along the way, because it's easy to be like, I'm at this rank, I'm better than you. I know better than you. I've made this amount of money. I know better than you. And it's like, I could make $1 million per month and I'm still going to be investing millions into mentorship, because I know I've never arrived.
Never.
That's the problem that people have, is they think once I make a certain amount of money, or once I hit a certain rank, like, I've arrived, I've made it, I know better than you. And that will crumble your organization or your business or your coaching program or whatever it is that you have faster than anything else, because we have never arrived. Never.
Or they'll be like, oh, I've made this amount of money, like, I'm good. And that's fine for some people, like, if they just want to keep there. But I will tell you that if you're not continuing to grow, you're going to continue to scale backwards. That's what starts to happen, because what got you there isn't going to get you to the next level. And the thing is that, we get to this, like, we climb this mountain and we get to this goal. But then to get to the next part, we have to climb another mountain, because it's going to require a new version of ourselves, and breaking down other mindsets and other stories that we have, and going through all of that to get to the next one. And it's just growth and evolution over a lifetime, because you're always going to want to go higher and higher. And even if you're at a place where you're like, you know what, I make $250,000 to $500,000 a year, and I'm good with that, that's fine. However, you have got to continue to keep on growing and learning and all that, because what's going to happen is that other people are going to scale like past you, right? And you're going to just continue to keep staying right at this moment. And eventually you will start to go backwards, because things are constantly growing and evolving over time. Everything is constantly is, right? And so I think what starts to happen is that they feel like they've made this amount of money. They don't need to continue to be a student. They don't need to continue mentorship. They don't need to continue leadership. They don't need to continue any of that. And I will never ever have that mindset. I will always be in the room. I will always be around people who challenge me or allow me to see things differently, or want to go bigger or allow me to see that, oh wow, like I was thinking of it this way or seeing it this way. That's why I am attracting this person, or that's why I'm blocking myself from this, because we cannot see past where we're at that point in time. There's just no way. Just like the fact of I could never fathom making my yearly salary every 30 days. When I first got started and I was talking to people around me who don't know anybody who makes that kind of money, they were like, that is not possible. That's a scam. That's a gimmick. That's a this. It's not. Now I'm in the room with people who are making $2.5 million a month, right? And it's still even larger than that. So the point that we're trying to make is that it's so easy to fall into ego because of money or because of status or because of all of that. I don't think I'm better than anybody. The only person that I'm in competition with every single day is who I was yesterday, and that's it. Other than that, I love to praise my girls. And another thing too, it's a little bit of a side note. When people used to ask me, where do I think, how do I word this? How did I get to where I was so quickly? Like, how was I able to enroll so many people into the business? Because they'll say, like, I'm really good at selling the product, but for some reason, I just can't get people to join the business. And for me, and again, this goes to perspective and this goes to like the story you tell yourself. I never wanted people to think that they needed to personally buy something from me, like a product, in order for me to be successful. So that was something, because I really struggled with, after my mom passed away, I never felt like if I was going to people's houses that they looked at me as a burden because I didn't have parents, that I was going to like, never leave their house or eat their food or want something from them. I was very like weird about that. I never wanted to ask people for money, all of that. So I never wanted people to buy something from me because I didn't want them to think that they needed to in order to support me. So my mindset was, let me promote the business and say, hey, let's do this together. Look at the life that we can build together. And because I promoted it that way, people were just constantly joining me left and right because they're like, yes, I want to do that. I want to do it. And I was showing where I was and how I was evolving daily with my mindset and pushing myself, doing hard things so that I didn't stay where I was at. I was constantly challenging myself. So people were watching the growth and the evolution, and they were like, whoa, this girl came from this and she's like evolving. Like, I want to go, with her. And that's how it started to happen from there. So again, it's always going to boil down to like what you're telling yourself, because no matter what you tell yourself, that is going to be right. And you're always going to find the evidence for that, because that's just the way our subconscious mind works. But no matter how many times I've reached the top of companies, no matter how many times I've been in the room with multi-millionaires or billionaires or whatever, I still have a long way to go. And until I take my last breath, I will constantly have a long way to go, and I will constantly be growing and evolving over a lifetime. Money is not going to be the marker in my life for me to say I've made it.
Yeah, or I'm worthy. And the last thing that I really want to hone in on this, because we've been talking about people who make money, but if you haven't yet made the kind of money that you want to make, you're not making 40, 50, $60,000 per month, you have to understand that you hold power already. Don't
Right.
think that once you make money, you're all of a sudden going to have personal power. The way that you attract more money is by amplifying your current personal power. So this is when my whole world changed for me in 2024, was when at the end of 2023 in December, I started to realize, holy crap, I've given away all of my personal power to some people.
Yep.
I have not had any. And I decided in 2024, I was going to amplify every little piece of personal power that I had, because I was valuable just how I was and the gifts that I had and what my genius was. And I was really going to hone in on that. And that is when I went from $20,000 a month to having 4 6-figure months in 2024, was because I just honed in on my personal power. And because I realized my value, my worth, my abilities, my genius, all of these things that I already had, and I decided to just go all in with that. Holy shit, all of this money came in. And so if you're not currently where you want to be, or you're not currently seeing the fruits of your labor in your business yet, that's okay. It's because you don't yet realize your own power. You think, once I make X amount of money, then I'll be powerful. And it really is the other way around. So I want you to just contemplate on that a little bit today of like, are you giving away your personal power? Are you putting your mentor on a pedestal? Are you putting other people in your community on a pedestal, thinking that once you get to that level, then all of a sudden you'll be worthy? Like really just kind of play with that, because that's where I see a lot of people who are trying to bridge that gap of 0 to like 10K months. They really struggle, is they just don't even realize the personal power they have.
And honestly, getting to 10K months is the hardest. Then once you get to 10K months, it's so easy to go beyond. But it's the barrier of who you believe you are and the like what you believe you get to have and the $10,000 that you're putting on this pedestal. That's what it is. So like just said, when you own in on your power and you get loud about that, you own in on it and you keep showing up over and over and over again to share that with people, the $10,000 will come. But I don't want you to be allowing your worth like, oh, here we go, another month that I didn't make my $10,000. I'm unworthy, I'm crap, I'm this, I'm that. That's why you're not making it, is because of the way you are viewing it, which is what exactly what we're talking about, is that the money does not give you power or self-worth. It's just a byproduct of that. So I hope that you guys caught a lot of value from this today. Please drop your takeaways in the comments. Give us a 5-star review. Let us know how we're doing. We love to show up every single week with you guys. We'll also have another podcast coming out on Thursday that will be on Spotify or iHeartRadio. Share this out with your community because we will be choosing winners for our subscribers. 100 downloads and then 1,000, was it that? Yeah, 1,000 downloads. We will be choosing winners and we'll be choosing them by the people who share this on their socials, preferably Instagram, so that we can see them in the DMs. Even when it goes away after 24 hours, we can still see that you tagged us. And that's how we will be choosing our winners.
Yes. And the last thing I want to say on that, because I have noticed a lot of people tagging us, people are also tagging us like our personal, like at, your fave sales girly and at it's Tara L. So make sure if you're sharing the podcast to enter the giveaway that you're tagging the podcast IG. So at the Wealthy Woman Playbook, that way we can see your submissions there. But I think we're getting close to 1,000. I think I looked yesterday and we're at like 800. So we're getting there and I'm very excited.
Me too, because it's only been a month. I think on the 24th. Yeah. I think December 24th was the first time we launched the podcast. Yeah. So already
we're gonna celebrate
downloads in our first month, which is so exciting. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, sharing it out, being here with you guys, or being here with us. We love to show up for you guys. And that is our mission, to just help one person every single day to step into their personal power, to radiate that and go out there into the world and share their mission, because we are better together. It takes one person to change the entire world. So we hope you have